We get people all the time saying that they don't remember their dreams. They just get snippets. Well, no problemo. I interpret a 5 word dream on today's show. Also, what does it mean to dream of someone who remembers all their past lives? Interesting. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with Michael and Sandy.
Hello, welcome everybody. We are so glad that you are here to join us. It is going to be a fun show today.
That better be true. This is another half hour of us eavesdropping on the very personal communication between the spirit world and you on your journey. Why does the spirit world do this? Because you have a mission, you have a purpose, you have gifts, you have all sorts of things that you are meant to do to help you grow before heading back there. We don't just come here for the vacation. All right, Sandy, do we want to just dive into it?
Yes, let's. By the way, though, before we dive in, our next mentorship is starting on June 15th. So if you guys are interested in finding about our mentorship, you might want to talk to me because I'm easy to talk to and I don't bite.
Book Sandy by going to dream-analysis.com/Sandy. And of course, there'll be a link to that under this podcast, wherever you're listening or watching.
Excellent. Now we can dive into some dreams. So this one is titled Nurses Running Back to Work, and it's from Michelle. I was standing up on a hill outside a hospital. It was wintertime, in the middle of the night, and there was snow on the ground, but it did not seem cold at all. I see a whole bunch of female nurses in green scrubs running towards and then past me. I knew they were finished with their break and were rushing to get back inside before someone noticed they were not there in time. Ooh, got to be on time.
So this is a very simple one. Now, of course, I channel on every single dream that we interpret on the show. But when you channel on it, like that gives you more accuracy on the dream, but you can also see what it is. And what they said was that the dreamer loves orderly structure. So see what they did there? They have orderlies running back. It's kind of cool. Anyway, but she loves to follow rules and orderly structure because she gets attention for following the rules and being a good girl. Now, I say it that way because we pick this up in childhood when we have issues with dad. So it's a masculine energy problem, even though it's all shown with women in the dream. But also, because she's having a dream about this, we can say that she doesn't give herself enough recognition either.
So what is the green scrubs? We've got green in here, and I like to go to colors whenever you have them.
Yeah, so it's a woman's dream. It is about the heart because of the green and the women and them being outside. That does kind of make it a heart-based dream. But it's like this is what she's doing as a woman, following structure, following orders, following the rules. And it's restrictive. Like they need the break. Obviously, they need the break. And they're trying to get back in before somebody notices that they're not there. Like, so we see the issue. There is no relaxation.
Yeah. And then what is the middle of the night? And then we've also got snow on the ground.
Snow is also about being cold. You know, I freeze people out. So it's like you wouldn't really get to know this woman. So this dream came about when this lady was very close to finishing cutting the ties with dad. So she's working on masculine energy, and then feminine stuff starts to show up. And so some of the things kind of are an overlap. And this one is a bit of that. So freezing people out is an issue. The green is the healing for that. All the women is good for it. And then you asked about, what was it?
The middle of the night.
Yeah. So she doesn't really see this issue properly yet. If we see light on something in a dream, we know what's going on. We can see it clearly. But here it's like, when it comes to this issue, I'm still in the dark.
Yes. And then up on a hill, that's pretty good, right? But what's outside a hospital?
Hospital is about state of mind. So ultimately, that's what she's working on, her state of mind, trying to heal her state of mind. And she did. She's already finished the process now. But you talk about not having a long dream and getting a lot out of it. You can certainly get a lot out of it when Sandy keeps asking questions.
That's
But
right.
standing on a hill outside the hospital. So it's like I'm now running down the hill. And so that's moving down into the heart as well, which is pretty good.
That's excellent. Okay. Now we can move on. Our next dream is Divine Plan for Abundance Cafe, and it's from Amy. And I love the abundance part. Okay, here we go. We go into my new husband's brother's home somewhere in Italy. Ooh, nice place. It used to have a cafe on the first floor that was kind of crappy that no one really went to. Alrighty, not a nice place there. But he recently invested in this massive white espresso machine, and it is gorgeous. People love his new machine and the new shop. He was worried that he made a bad investment before, but now he realizes that people actually love it and he's making really big returns doing it. Woo, that sounds good.
It is good. And Italy's about the heart. If you're not from Italy, if you're from Italy, then that doesn't hold. But they're very passionate, and the passion translates for the rest of us to say it's about the heart. And then investing in this coffee machine is like the work I'm doing will pay dividends. The investment I'm doing on myself, in working on myself in a therapy, is going to pay dividends for my heart and for my business. So we see the overlap. And we say this, or at least we've been pointing it out in Dreams in recent shows. So I'm going to say it here now, that when we work on issues around a parent, then we see gifts bubble to the surface. We didn't always used to point it out, but we've started doing it. So if you're wondering, how do I access a gift that I know I have or think I have? You work on the things that block it, heal the things that block it, it bubbles to the surface. So I know you have questions. I'll just let you ask me.
All righty. So you already answered Italy. What's a cafe on the first floor?
So it's in Europe, the first floor is what Americans call the second floor. So you go in and you go up. That makes it a spiritual thing. It's healing for the spirit, not just the heart, because she's gone up to a higher level. The coffee machine, that's really what it represents. I have this wonderful machine for healing. But like I said, it's healing for the spirit, not just the heart.
And then we have white in this dream, a white espresso machine. So I like to point out colors.
So the brother is a bit critical. White on its own is not good. It indicates somebody who's hard on themselves. So the dreamer's hard on themselves. But dreams of the husband's brother, who the way she put it was, if he was to do something and it worked out, he will take all the credit. But if it didn't work out, he would blame everybody else. So it's in it for that reason. So she's a bit hard on herself. And the dream tells her clearly she needs to soften up because she realizes that people love it. We have the word love and we know it's about the heart and all that. That's really good. And it's going to pay dividends.
Oh, that's great. We're going to continue. There's more to this. So he is excited. Part of him was going to blame me or my husband for the fact that he wasn't getting any business before or for not getting customers after investing. But now he sees that it was like part of the divine plan for his abundance. He's doing okay. The man is big, fit, and Italian looking, scruffy, handsome, and amiable. I like him. The floor of the shop is at a steep angle. Michael, what's going on here?
So I already said this part about the man in the dream, the brother in the dream. And why does it show up? She's working on mom, but she said this is how mom is. Mom doesn't take responsibility for her own life. She expects others to drive it, and she will take credit if something will go well. So this is why people show up in our dreams. They show up because of the traits they have, and it's often easier for us to see the traits in somebody else than the person that we have the issues with, because there's so much in our lives. So it's like this person is like this or has this similarity to mom. So it can't be questioned.
In the cafe, I brought a bag of coffee for him. I just bought a French press grind through. I see a glass French press in a messy cabinet, but he's clearly all about espresso, and I regret not bringing that. The coffee I brought is good though.
All right. So pretty straightforward. We know it's about her gifts and healing for the heart. That's already given. But here we see that she compares her gifts to other people's gifts and she looks down on hers. So she's bringing this gift, but she's decided, oh, I brought the wrong thing. It's not as good as what other people will have done. So she's got to fix that view of her abilities. And then she also has this special gift that she can deal with difficult cases. I channel that. So that's pretty good to know. A lot of people are good at particular things, But to know you're good with difficult cases, like that's like, okay, bring me the worst. I can help Deb.
What is the French? We
Mm.
got French press twice.
The French press is about intimacy issues, which has shown up in other dreams. And I think we've had some of our dreams in the past and pointed it out. Like, it's not like Freud would have you think a very common theme in dreams, but for the people that it shows up for, it's common in their dreams. It's littered throughout their dreams. And so she knows she has that issue that she's got to work on.
And will doing this work, cutting the ties, help her with that?
Absolutely. Whatever shows up in your dream when you're doing a therapy is getting worked on. So if we see health issues, we see gifts, we see whatever it is, difficulty like state of mind or intimacy, all of those things, basically what the dream is saying is these are all connected. They're all impacted by one root issue or one root person. And by working on that person, you're going to help all of these different avenues. Now, conversely, what you can do when you see a dream telling you this is you can say, I'm going to work on this particular issue, like I need to change my diet or I need to, whatever it is. And that will also help all the other things. Once you see things are connected in a dream, working on any one of those issues will improve the others.
Awesome. Well, Michael, here is this tiny little snippet for you. This is our next dream. And I'm amazed at how much you can get out of such a tiny little snippet. So everybody, hang on to the edge of your seat. You ready? It's going to go by quick. There was 256 TED Talks. That's from Cindy. That's the whole dream.
So the dreamer is a motivator. That's her gift. Like, think about what a TED Talk is for. The person shares and motivates people in the audience to get into whatever it is that they're talking about. So from her perspective, her channeling, because she can channel, allows her to help people understand their path or move to a better version of themselves. If somebody's in a lot of pain, she can help them understand what they can get from going through that pain. Now, that's really cool. Like, most of the time, we think if somebody comes to us for healing or any type of work, therapy work, a lot of people are like, how do I get this person out of this predicament? Whereas somebody who's really good will look at it and go, how can this person get the most out of what they've already endured, get the most growth? Now, of course, when you can channel, you can ask all those sorts of things, and this dreamer can. But that's her specialty, is to help people make sense of the issues that they find themselves in and help them change their perspective and become a better version of themselves in spite of what they've gone through.
Oh, that's lovely. Now we're going to work on those numbers again. We got 2, 5, and 6. You want to explain them?
Yeah, 2 is about channeling, which is why her channeling gift actually comes up in how she helps people. And then 5 and 6 are the 2 paths in life. 5 is about the karmic path, where we learn about ourselves through the 5 senses. The school of hard knocks makes us look at our life and go, why is this happening to me? And then we learn about ourselves through the events being foisted upon us, let's say. The dharmic path, which is 6, which is about going beyond the 5 senses and into feminine energy, is kind of like what she's going to help people do, move to a higher perspective in their lives. But the dharmic path is where you accept and you know and you understand like what you're meant to be doing, why you're here, all that sort of stuff. It's a much better path if you can get onto it. It's easier in so many ways because things can still happen to you, although it's far less likely. But when they do, you're not bothered by them. It's almost like it's not an emotional drain on you because you're like, oh, I just lost my job. That's really interesting. I wonder what new experiences that's going to open up for me. I enjoyed the last one, but something better is obviously here. And like, that's just an example. You might also know that, I did want to do this type of work, helping people in this environment. And now that I have lost that job, I can actually focus on that. So this is a good thing. And so you have that perspective when you're on the dharmic path. But even though she may not get somebody from the karmic path, the 5, to the 6, she's going to help them improve their perspective. She's going to at least take them a few steps in that direction.
Wow, that's awesome. What a great dream. All righty, Michael, I think it's time to move on to another dream. And I love the title of this one. It's titled New Yoga Teacher. And it's from Julie. I'm in a yoga classroom. There's a man here who is a guest teacher. Chris, a woman, is the teacher, but the man is like a traveling teacher from another country, maybe Israel, teaching something advanced and new, and I'm excited to learn from him. I didn't know he would be here today. It's like when she has that guy who plays the guitar while we do yoga, and it's really exciting and fun. The traveling teacher appears to be demonstrating his skills in one room on an elevated stage, but I enter another room next door to take the class, which is lined with people along the walls and no teacher.
All right. So this is obviously about learning about yourself because we have a classroom and then we have a guest teacher. So we know she has a spiritual leadership ability. And then we see a few things that all mean the same thing. She says he's from another country. That represents a past life. So if you have a dream where you're in another country, particularly one that you've never been to before, that's a past life influence. Or somebody coming from another country is a past life influence, another time, another lifetime. So we know this is going to be important. She mentions Israel. It's nothing to do with the politics of anything. It's to do with the promised land. So we know it's about spiritual gifts. And this guy's teaching something advanced. So what she's going to teach and help people with is something advanced, at least from her perspective. And we suspect it's either a gift she used in past lives or has something to do with past lives. Otherwise, we wouldn't see that happening. Then she says that the teacher appears to be demonstrating in one room on an elevated stage, but I enter the room next door. So he's not in that room. And so this is another way dreams will show how past lives are linked. It'll either be like a scenario in one room with somebody from a foreign country, and then I'm in another room. So it's connected, but there's no direct connection. So it's like a separate lifetime. It's a separate box, separate experience that's being had in this room, but it is connected to a previous experience I had in another lifetime.
Oh, that's great. Okay. That's very interesting. So she is looking at having skills from another lifetime. Interesting. Okay, let's continue and see what else we can get. I don't know where to put my mat because the room seems really full, but I enter a trance state and follow my instincts without even looking at where I'm going. I end up in the right corner of the room where there is a big floor to ceiling window. Matis de Stefano is there. I fit my mat perfectly between his and a woman to his right. I'm in the corner. I'm worried that I'm too close to them. I'm giddy to be next to Mathis. On some level, I knew he'd be there, that I would be guided to him. I don't remember doing the yoga class, but maybe we do a class. And then I tell Mathis that I know him in my dreams, that I've met him many times. I tell him how I guided him in the high, low mountains and fairy dream, the Egyptian high priestess dream, and the transmission towers, and the dream where we were working with portals and electrical current energy and a crystal ball. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of stuff, Michael. Woo!
It is. So she has influences from past lifetimes that show up as giddy excitement for things in this one. And you can actually see that in the first part where she's excited. Like there's a teacher here. I'm excited about it. Like I'm excited when she has somebody play guitar while we do the yoga and so on. But here she calls that out. Like she's giddy with excitement. So her specialty is past life stuff. And when I channeled on it, they said that she can use them as long as she keeps the focus on her mission in this one. But she has this special state because she goes into the yoga room and enters a trance state. Like who does that? You don't do that in yoga. So she has this special state that she's able to go into to access information about past lifetimes. And so Matthias, his specialty, he's actually a well-known celebrity, Matthias de Stefano. I'm sure I'm butchering his name. But he remembers all his past lives. That's his skill. So that means that her gift is connected with helping people remember their past lives. Now, she doesn't necessarily have to say, okay, and then you were a monk in this life, and then you were another. But what she can do is she can look at the person in the spirit world, maybe on the astral plane. This is how I channel it works for her. So she's not looking at them and she's not trying to look at their past lifetimes, but she looks at them in the spirit world and she has a conversation with them in her altered state and asks them about what influences from past lives are significant for you in this one. And she can collect it all from them in that altered state. which is really cool. And so, you know, when we've lived a lot of lifetimes, and many of us have, in a life, we bring into this plane the issues we have in the spirit world. But there's a point when you've had enough past lifetimes that you're going to bring things from past lives too. And so if I want to be a spiritual leader in this lifetime and I'm bringing that gift in, but I have any other lifetimes where I was a spiritual leader and I was persecuted, then I can't access that gift without having to deal with that persecution from those other lifetimes. Because I want to bring in the fact that I had it strong. So I want to use a gift that I manifested in this plane. So she's able to help people understand what is holding them back, like why they might have issues that make no sense to them whatsoever. And this is kind of like where somebody has a feeling that way back in childhood, this happened to me, or I've always been this way and I have no idea why I have this particular issue. And it's like, yeah, well, she's able to help them understand this came from a past lifetime. Here's the details around it. And here's how it's holding you back in this lifetime. Here's what you need to do about it. All that sort of stuff. It's really, really good. And she's talking about levels in this dream a lot. You know, he's on an elevated level in the other room, and she says, on some level, I knew he'd be here and all this. So she's talking about the fact that she's here consciously in the physical world, but she's able to access this other level of wisdom. And by doing that, she's able to see the completed wisdoms that a person has collected in past lifetimes. And this allows her to very easily see a person's strength, point out an easy path forward with no resistance in this lifetime. It was very interesting how they showed that to me. It's like if there's a forest and there's trees in every direction and there's no path, because of the fact that I can see all the past lifetimes, and that will allow me go, okay, yeah, Michael, you need to work on this, but if you try to do this directly, it's not going to work because you've had problems with that in the past. So you need to do it this other way. So she's able to see the nuance and say, this is your easy path that avoids all the obstacles in front of you. It's really fantastic.
That is absolutely an amazing gift. And I like how she guided him to high-low mountains, fairy dreams, Egyptian high priestess dreams with a transmission tower. Dreams where we're working with portals, electric energy, and crystal balls. That's all energy type stuff. So what's going on there?
Well, she has a prophetic ability as well that shows up in many of her dreams. And that's what the crystal ball is about. She does have a healing ability, which is the energy. The transmission towers, let's go to that one first. We have the high priestess too. So spiritual leadership. So when it comes to my level on the other side in the spirit world, I'm quite high. And it goes back away because it's an Egyptian priestess. So I have a lineage. The transmission towers are her ability to project her mind on people. And that helps. Like people can misuse that. But in general, we have that ability so that if I'm helping you understand something, as long as I understand what I need to get you to understand, you will understand it, because that projection ability is like I put my mind on top of your mind and you see how it works. You're like, oh, I get it. I get it. You know, I think we've all had this experience. Like if you have a teacher in high school that when they explain something complex, you're like, I get it. Then you go home to do your homework and you're like, I don't get it. So it's, yeah, you can get it when you're in their space and their projection is helping you understand it. So anyway, she has this in spades.
Interesting. All righty, last part of the dream. And then this whole other storyline happens with him where we just sort of lock in as friends who are joining our abilities on an adventure. We open up a screen or move into a portal space that feels like the TV show Midnight Gospel, made by the Adventure Time people. The main character in Midnight Gospel is like a wizard who jumps into a portal travel machine, which brings him into avatars on different planets. He collects artifacts info every time he goes. Wow, Michael, that's such a cool dream.
So the portal space is because she does watch that show, Midnight Gospel. She's encouraging me to watch it. It sounds interesting. But we can see the similarity in the show and what her gifts are in some way, you know, going to other places. Like she says, brings him into avatars on different planets. So it's like, what are my skills from all these other places? That's what she's able to do. Look at and bring other people's strengths forward into this lifetime. Explain them to them in this lifetime. We know she's a leader because we see many of the things like the high priestess before and so on. But the gospel tells us she's a leader too. But really, this part is just about She has this ability. It's not really about a connection with him, because I checked that, like, oh, do you know him on the other side and all that stuff? And they said no. But it's about the fact that he represents her ability to help people with past lives. And by connecting with him in the dream, she's locking in this ability in a strong way so that she can use it in this lifetime to help other people.
Wow, what an amazing gift, Michael. And this all came about because she was doing cutting the ties.
Yeah, but what's always interesting is we always have gifts. Everybody has gifts. What's interesting is when you discover somebody is at a particularly high level or they have a gift that's very, very unique. And like if you listen to the show regularly, you will see many, many times where I talk about how a gift works a particular way, like hers does. So we have courses where we say, okay, here's the 8 major gifts. And if you have these symbols, you have this gift. But understand really that when you look at your dreams in detail, there's going to be amazing nuance around every single gift, how it works. We see in her dreams, she has prophecy and many other gifts and the ability to connect with past lives. But it's nuanced. So understanding how to access it, because she can already channel. So now she can get into a channeling state and talk to the higher aspect of the whoever her client is. Now she's not talking to their higher self, but it's almost like she's talking to their spirit body. But knowing that that's what she needs to do is very exciting. She's like, oh, I can't wait now to give it a go. And that's how it is for all of us with all of our dreams and all of our gifts. They're very, very nuanced and very particular to us. And when we step into them properly and fully, how we're going to help other people is just going to be amazing. It's going to blow them away and it's going to blow you away. Now, your question is, do you just get these from working on yourself? Absolutely. You cannot but get gifts uncovered from doing the work that clears whatever obscures your light. You know, we say the mission of Ashling School is to help connect you with your light. You already have that light, but there's something frequently is blocking you from seeing it within yourself. But once you can get to the point where you can see it, you unearth whatever is the problem, then your gifts are just going to start shining on their own. You're going to start shining. And you really step into a completely different way of being. You drop the sense of life being torture, if that's what you have. You drop that and you get into a completely joyous state because you know that you're really helping people.
I love that, Michael. I love what we do as well. It is fabulous. Well, everybody, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed the show and look forward to meeting with you next week. Bye.
Bye.